Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we have to talk about the new Blood Angels Combat Patrol for 10th edition of Warhammer 40k. This Combat Patrol is following the same formula that most of the Combat Patrols in 10th edition have been following, and that means that we have one character plus 3 different units. Before we go any further, it's wise to take a look at the contents of this Combat Patrol, and if we buy this Combat Patrol, this is what we are getting. The brand new Blood Angels Captain. This is a new miniature for the Blood Angels, so it's nice that we can find it in a Combat Patrol, and I already made a video explaining why I like this character so much. I'm going to leave the link in the description. But still, I would like to repeat some things. I like a lot this specific captain because it's a generic captain, but still we have like a lot of different customization options in the kit. That means that my generic captain can be different than your generic captain, and I really like when we have a generic character that we can customize. So that's great, and I like a lot this miniature because of that. And of course the armor is also very nice and it looks great, so good. Then we have the Sanguinary Guard. We have 6 miniatures here, that is the equivalent of 2 boxes of the new Sanguinary Guard. They used to come in boxes of 5, but now they want them to be much more elite, and now they are coming in boxes of 3 miniatures. So here we have 2 different units, so it's 3 and 3, which is equivalent of 2 boxes of them. Again, I already made a video talking about the design of these miniatures and why I don't like them that much, so here I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to leave the link in the description. But what I do want to say is that I'm super happy that these miniatures are part of the Combat Patrol. Let's not forget that this is not a Space Marines Combat Patrol, this is a Blood Angels Combat Patrol, and that's why I'm super happy that in this Combat Patrol we have chapter specific units. We have the unique Blood Angels Captain, and then we have 2 units of Sanguinary Guard that is a chapter specific unit. So that makes me very happy, and I really like to see these units in the Combat Patrol. Then we have 10 Assault Intercessors. That I like this choice because Blood Angels is a chapter that is very focused into close combat, and that's why I'm happy that almost every miniature here is like focused into close combat. So I'm happy that there's 10 Assault Intercessors. And then I would like us to take a look at the sergeant of these Assault Intercessors. Let's take a much closer look at him, because in the article in Warhammer community that they shared this new Combat Patrol, they mentioned that there's going to be 2 upgrade frames for the Blood Angels. This sergeant has a chainsword, but we can see a purity seal right here, and then we can see this decoration on the back, and those bits are part of the new upgrade sprue for the Blood Angels. So there's going to be 2 upgrade sprues, but for sure one of them is going to be the new one. I'm not sure if it's going to be 2 of the new ones or 1 new and 1 old, but for sure there's 1 new there, and that's great because that upgrade sprue is looking quite nice. It's like really good one, and it's going to let us customize a lot of different Space Marine units to look more like Blood Angels, and that's great because I like much more this one than the previous one, and I think that this is like a really nice addition. So at the moment of making this video, for sure one of those upgrade sprues is going to be the new one, the other one maybe can be, maybe not, but for sure it's really nice upgrade sprue. Basically those are the contents of the brand new Blood Angels Combat Patrol for 10th edition, and at this point I would love to know what you think about this new Combat Patrol, so I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about it. And with all of this being said, I would like now to share my first thoughts based on my personal preference, on my experience and my opinions, of course. The only important thing here is that I will always consider that a Combat Patrol is good if you want all the contents inside of that box, because of course we are going to get a nicer discount if we get this Combat Patrol rather if we buy all of these things individually. So if we want everything, we are making a very good deal. And if we don't want the miniatures inside of this box and we get them because they are discounted, are we really saving money if we buy things that we don't want? Okay, I have to say that I think that I love this combat patrol. I know that there's people that will hate this combat patrol, but I think that I like it a lot. I think that I almost love this combat patrol. And I'm going to explain why, okay? This is a chapter specific combat patrol, and if we compare it with the previous chapter specific combat patrol, the Dark Angels one, I complain about that one because there was no Dark Angels chapter specific units in that combat patrol. It felt like a very generic Space Marine combat patrol, and I didn't like that. Here we don't have that issue. This is a clearly Blood Angels combat patrol. Even if, for example, I don't like the design of the new Sanguinary Guard that much, I'm super happy that there's 2 units of them here because they are probably one of the most iconic Blood Angels units that exist in the world. And if I think of a new player, like for example, if I want to start a Blood Angels army right now and I see this box, this is a clearly Blood Angels combat patrol, and I'm going to get not 1 but I'm going to get 2 of them. And that's what I really appreciate the most about this combat patrol, that you can buy 2 of them and have a very interesting Blood Angels army right there. Because the captain, yes, we have a captain. We can have either 2 captains with different weapon loadouts, or we can remove the cape and then we are going to have a captain and then a lieutenant. That is nice. Then we have the Sanguinary Guard. If we get 2 of these boxes, we can have either 2 units of 6, or we can have 1 unit of 6 and 2 units of 3, which is nice. And then Assault Intercessors. Why do we need 20 of them? Well, the good thing about that the new Death Company, it's just regular Assault Intercessors with different color scheme, is that we can get 10 of these Assault Intercessors, we can paint them red, and they are regular Blood Angels Assault Intercessors. But if we painted black with the red crosses, then we are going to get Death Company Assault Intercessors from the Blood Angels. So that's why I really like this combat patrol that much, because I like the contents. They are very Blood Angel specific contents, and we can get even 2 of them, save money, and have like the foundation of a very nice or very interesting Blood Angels army. After that, we will need to get a lot of things. We need Dante, we need vehicles, we need more elite units. But still, I like a lot what I see here. I mean, this is just my personal preference and opinion. You can dislike this combat patrol as much as you want, but what we cannot deny is that it is awesome that in a combat patrol that is a chapter specific one, we can have every single unit in that box to be chapter specific, because of course the captain, Sanguinary Guard, 2 of them, and then we have the Assault Intercessors that we can paint as Death Company Assault Intercessors, and they can be perfectly viable because in the box we have the new upgrades proof. So we're going to have that nice two-handed chainsword that appears there, and then we also have the Inferno pistol. So yes, it's very nice. It feels so good to me to see a combat patrol that has chapter specific units, and all of them can be chapter specific units. So I really like what I see here. I'm not going to start collecting Blood Angels, but if I wanted to, I will think that this combat patrol is great for that. Even if I compare it with the previous combat patrol from the Blood Angels, that the previous one, I think that it was a very nice Space Marine combat patrol, because we had like a nice variety of units there, and it was like a very interesting one to start a Space Marine army. But that's the point, Space Marine army. If there was nothing really Blood Angel specific in that combat patrol, so we don't have that issue anymore. My first impressions about this new combat patrol are very positive, and I can get that people can complain in terms that there's not a huge quantity of miniatures in the box. So when we look at that image, it looks like there are not that many of them. But still, I do think that it's not that bad, because for example there's more miniatures than in the Space Marine combat patrol, and I'm okay with what I see here. Something that I can complain about actually like a lot is that there's 2 units of Sanguinary Guard, and I can get that because of combat patrol games. It's much easier if both units have the same weapon loadout, but still we can clearly see in this image that it's the same miniatures. It's the same Sanguinary Guard once and then duplicated, so it's like the same miniatures, and that doesn't feel that good. I think that maybe they could have put a little bit more of effort, not just turn them a little. No, I can clearly see that they are the same miniatures, it's just that they are duplicated there. And that doesn't feel that good, because I can see this and say, why are they so monopose? But no, I guess that they can change the pose a little or try to do something different, but I don't know. I can't complain about that actually. Like I'm sometimes a little bit annoyed by things like that. So basically, I do think that this is a very nice combat patrol. I really appreciate that there's chapter specific units. Even as I mentioned, all of them can be assembled as perfectly Blood Angel specific miniatures. That it's great. Then I do think that this is a very nice combat patrol to start a Blood Angels army. And I also think that it can be a nice combat patrol for someone that has an already existing Blood Angels force, because half of the miniatures in this box are new. And it's not only that, we also have the new upgrades through there. So I do think that this is like a nice combat patrol by my standards. And with all of that being said, these were my first impressions about the new Blood Angels Combat Patrol, and I would like to remind you that I invite you to let me know in the comments what you think about this Combat Patrol. But with all of that being said, this is the end of the video, so as usual, if you are still here, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.